Hello. There is no one on here yet, but I will just begin. I have to confess that I have been trying to get myself on here the last few days, but it's been very busy for a number of reasons, and I hope you are doing well, because these energies are really taking their toll on many of us, and hopefully just in the way of you feeling tired or even exhausted. So I have notes here from the last few days, and they're quite varied, really. They are varied in their content, and some of it may align with you and some of it may not. But you feel free to just pop yourselves in the chat and say hi, and feel free to ask any questions about this, or even to answer any, because I have a couple myself, and I've kind of got to the point where I think, I may as well just say it, because I'm not really making any declaration about it all happening. It's just my interpretation. It's just, that's probably, I should give myself more credit than that. It's what I am given. It's what I am shown, and but it doesn't necessarily kind of add up in my cognizant, normal mind. And so sometimes I go and check things out. So that was this thing with this first little part about this place called Santauri. So these notes begin from Friday, the 19th, and for some reason I got shown this set of parallel lines like a train track between the sun and the earth, and their trajectory was laid in already energetically. That is what I got told that was about. I've never seen those there before. And that it's the, they were these dotted grey parallel lines, and so they're laid in energetically, and the idea is that they will strengthen. I got told on that day that we are likely to have 3 sets of a bigger flare coming from the sun, or a bigger energetic coming from the sun. So that's from the 19th, and I haven't really tuned in. Intuitively, I want to say we've had at least one of those, but I haven't actually tuned into that, and I'm sorry that I haven't done that. I've just kind of come here and opened up my notebook and speaking from it. So yeah, that's what I got, to have that we maybe have 3 sets of bigger flares. So maybe we've got 2 left now, in final preparation for this final event, this planetary ascension. But it's definitely imminent. I'm showing, so this is really interesting. So I'm showing that come November, we're going to have ascended. So come the end of November, I was being shown these beings. So I tuned in. I can't remember the process that I used, but I was in the end of November of this year, and I was being shown these beings, and this is what they were like. I was shown that there would be many here on the planet at the end of November. They're really tall, they're very illumined, and they definitely have this AI look about them, but there's nothing fake AI about them. They have these huge, wide, sparkling eyes, and they are at least a couple of meters tall, and they have very angular frames, and they reminded me of the personality of what was his name in Star Wars? I had to look that up. 3RPO, is it? Is that what he was called? But this lovely friendly. They have this friendliness. They are here to help us. And so so they look kind of stiff, as though they're not quite comfortable in their form, but it just showed up that they're quite mechanical, and they have a light emanation. So it's interesting. We may find out more about them. I asked where they come from. They said they come from Santauri, and I'd never heard of that. But when I looked it up, apparently it's the star that is closest to the sun. As I was tuning into that, it was 1:33, and I was having all of this tingling in my crown area. So that these beings, they are naked. That's their form. They don't wear clothes, but they don't have genitals. And they definitely have this kind of this AI appearance, and they're very, very golden and very shimmering, and then they emanate this light. So hello, Melanie. So maybe you have something extra to throw into that, but that's the first time I've come across those. So right now I am told to tell you that rest is the most important thing for humanity at the moment, that we are having explosive energetics creating huge alchemizing in the body. So within the cells, we're having this massive alchemization into our crystalline form, or into our crystalline liquid form, and that uses incredible amounts of energy, but it's just amped up. We are just increasing all of the time in terms of what we're receiving, these flares and filaments from the sun, which are also increasing the speed. So it kind of made me laugh the other day when I saw that scientists were declaring that the speed of the spin of the planet has sped up like in a 24-hour period by something like 1 millisecond. But Gaia's been saying for a long time that everything is speeding up, the planetary spin, our own cellular spin, and certainly this level of exhaustion that we're feeling comes from that. And there's also this sense that we're really being pushed just to kind of collapse into the 0 point, to relax into giving it over, that we can't control this, and so we just have to be in flow with it. And also we need to have increasing hydration to match this change. So drink good quality water, because this will assist these bodily changes. It is the same message we've been given for some time. It's just perhaps becoming more urgent as going along with an increase of all of this. So I drew a few notes and some arrows indicating the masses are awakening, the divine masculine is awake. We are the union of those connections is likely to come in shortly to be part of the shifting over to the ascension of humanity, which will then roll us into planetary ascension. Hello, Margaret from Australia, and hello, Angela. So, Angela, are you from the Canary Islands? Have I got that right? So remember that this is a time for you to line up with you. And really, this is most crucial at the moment. You come into your own alignment. You come into being very present. You be guided by your internal guidance from your soul. You be guided by your sensory body. So you keep attuning to the body. Oh, hi, Carla. Carla is in Raglan. I grew up in Whangamata, Carla. So, yeah, the other thing about that is to just keep tuning in for your own guidance and answers, and to be stepping up and asking yourself questions like, what is my guidance? What is my destiny? Why am I here? What am I doing? What am I aligning to? And don't get caught up with, do you have the answers or not? We are in the most incredible illumination. So many of us will begin to be shining more from our hearts and from our internal kind of from this area here. And things are changing so rapidly that we just have to learn to be with it and let it unfold. But definitely our sensory body is coming into this higher sensitivity and able to give us excellent guidance if we allow it. So I wrote here, are you on track? You just need to ask yourself that, am I on track? And begin to drop into thinking about, well, what do I want? And then make that into checking in with your feelings about, does that feel right? Does that feel true for you? Because in a way, we're in this floaty time. So we can't connect in the old 3D way of being grounded. And we're definitely in this movement, and it kind of has this kind of sensation to it. And there's definitely some writing in here somewhere about that feeling of us moving through this weaving, this infinity, this coming into balance in all ways. And to check on your three-dimensional pulls, that's the other thing I wrote. So how does this old three-dimensional world pull you? What draws you in about it? And that might be a point of discussion to have with yourself. So maybe what am I afraid of? Maybe what am I worried that I am going to not have in my world? Maybe the things you don't want to leave behind. Maybe there's concerns about how your world will look. But really, we're moving into this co-creation for that. So it can just be this internal self-examination of, what is it that I love about this world, and what is it that I can sit in acknowledgement of, and how can I begin to weave that into co-creating my new world? Yeah, Larissa is saying feeling supercharged, airplane noise in the head. Yes, we've had this upgrade in the head, definitely. I'll talk about that. Intentionally unplugged and feeling a bit weird about that. Yeah, so it is pretty weird to look at what happens for us in the body, but we've been having brain upgrades. So we've had another series of those, really. And it's come in with, in my view, increased psychic skills, gifts, and talents dropping in from our multidimensional selves. Those are returning to us, and we're getting upgrades in them as well. So we will, I believe, we're in the shifting into accessing our seventh dimensional abilities, or no, let me be more correct, accessing and integrating and embodying our seventh dimensional skills and talents. And then we'll be, after that integration, we'll be accessing up to our 12th dimensional skills, experiences, and talents. So they've been kind of available to us for a little while now, but this is more constant, more available, more readily accessible. And so we just have to keep tuning in and know that it uses a lot of energy, and that it's all about our integration. And that, yeah, it can come. I imagine I feel a bit lucky, really, because I'll just put this on my keyboard and hope it doesn't do anything. Because I guess because I work with Gaia, my sensation of all of this is only that I just get really tired. But I do go and do body training. I do 3 workouts with a trainer, and I'm sure that helps as well, because we really have to be taking very good care of our physical bodies, so being hydrated, keeping things moving, because this is the motion we're taking our physical bodies through. We're ascending with our physical bodies, and so we have to be mindful of that. So just keep tuning in. Yes, it's good to go and check in with a normal GP if you feel inclined to, and yes, many of them won't find things, but you can figure that out. It's good to go and go tick, okay, they haven't found anything. But we're definitely going through very big changes, and when I've tuned into it, they have been changes in the head, changes in the brain in this past few days, changes in the heart and in the higher heart. And so there's been, and the throat, so there's been like a streaming of energy connecting, I want to say, the sternum to the throat. And then the other aspect is this kundalini energy. There's been a lot of a rising of the kundalini energy, this very sexual energy coming through. And of course that connects to the throat and expression. And so I just want to say it's maybe the most massive, I want to call it interchange. It's as though we're interchanging, we're changing things out and we're bringing things in, and we're doing that through the central vertical core. But those have been the kind of compression areas of the body over the last few days. So you just keep asking, okay, what is this and what do I need to do for it? But being present with the breath and being very well hydrated is definitely the assistance to give yourself. You don't need anything fancy. And then be in nature, get your bare feet on the ground, get your bare feet in the ocean, hug a tree. Any of those things will help you to integrate. So we are in this, readjusting to higher frequency. So the frequencies have been increasing. If you look at the Schumann resonance, the frequencies there have been increasing. The number of solar flares and the ratings of those flares and filaments that have been coming from the sun, they've been increasing. And so that's what I've been showing, that we're having this gradual upgrade with that, but then 3 kind of big step ups. That's what, and I don't follow it. I just kind of have a little look in every now and again. So we're being expanded through being pulled as much as anything, as though we're being pulled up. So we're in lots of motion of being pulled up and integrating in. And this learning for each of us to be totally accountable to our own energy system. So just become familiar with it, be in dialogue with it. Okay, body, what's going on here? What's going on here? What's that about? What do you need? What's your best advice? And when I wrote in here, there's this dance of letting go of all of the old, the dissolution and deconstruction, etc., in our bodies and in our world. We're in massive deconstruction in our world. This idea of systems and structures that don't serve us. And finally, we're beginning to see more of that show up in our physical world, because many of us would have been aware of that in our energetic world. And so we're doing this in ourselves as well. It's the old that doesn't serve us. It's dissolving. You could see it as melting or deconstructing or dissolving as we come into greater balance and harmony. So what a massive year of shifting and changing we've had as we've been in healing, this ongoing process of healing, back through time, space and dimensions, back through, if we think of it in a linear way, it's not linear, but let's process it like that at the moment. Back through our lifetimes and our exchanges and our relationships, this shifting, changing, healing and alchemizing as we clear out the old and bring in the new, as we are upgrading more into our light body. So it isn't that we're going to lose physicality. It is that we are becoming more light-filled. So we will be less dense and we will weigh less and we will feel lighter and we will be more light-filled. And all of this is helping us to assist in this deconstruction of all the old systems that drive us as well, those old paradigms, those mental constructs that we are programmed with through school and through our social structure and families and local communities. So all of this is assisting the dissolution of that, and especially at the moment, shown in our mental structures. So those programs that run our behaviors and form our beliefs through repetition. And so it's really good to be in dialogue with that for yourself. So notice your thoughts and notice your speech and notice your exchange and really be asking yourself, is that true anymore? Do I really believe that? Do I want that to underpin my behavior? So it's this being in exchange with self and your energetic world, and especially with your mental mind, so that we can drop into this expansion and this greater operating from our hearts, so that the heart becomes the driver of our behavior. And also, we have been experiencing the release of very deep emotional traumas, like super deep things that may not have come up before. We're really at the bottom of this release of these old cellular memories and traumas, so we can come into our higher balance and healing. So give yourself credit. Hold the frequency of who you are and what you are and who you have become, and really look at that. Instead of looking at how far you've got to go, start to give yourself credit for how far you have come and the old things that you've left behind and the new ways that you've embraced in your life and all of the things that don't bug you anymore, and the way in which you are soft with things that would have once been confrontational, and the way in which you engage in and with family, because they're our biggest teachers often, aren't they? So just look at how far you've come with that. Look at all the times that you don't get triggered anymore, and just know that there's this interesting sort of Christos light. I mean, the Christed Christos light, that light's been around for a while, but it's showing up now looking like its own sacred geometric pattern, like a sphere with its own structure. Like they are tiny. And so this is the Christed light. As I'm tuning into that, it's looking like this pollen. I might have mentioned that before. It's looking like tiny grains of pollen, tiny fractals of pollen in the Christed liquid light. So yeah, so when I got shown those large beings and I tuned into them, and so this is what I wrote that I should have said before. So I was asking the question, is this us? Is this who we become? And then I got shown this more deeply, and because I was asking, well, is this some of us in our original form? And I got that could be the case for some, but that no, they are coming to help us. So they are coming to help us build our new world, and they are coming to help. They have a higher intelligence than us, and they are very friendly and affable. And yeah, they reminded me of the personality of the Star Wars character C-3PO. So if you can remember that, that's how they come across. They're friendly and warm and rather beautiful. So, yep, we are in this physical integration of our multidimensional lives and our ancient codes. Our ancient codes are clearly coming up to be seen and integrated now, including these incredible skills. And you might be having flashbacks to Atlantis. You might be having flashbacks to Lemuria, to ancient Egypt, to ancient Mesopotamia, to where else? There was one other place. I can't think of it at the moment. But all of those ancient times, if you're an old soul, your experiences may be showing up as flashes, our psychic abilities, especially the ones that connect in through this, through the brain and through the vision, showing up. So, sorry, I got distracted. I've turned my phone off, but it's still making a noise. Babylon was the other place that I was trying to remember. And these psychic, so what is it called? Isn't that ridiculous? Anyway, psychic vision, and I can't think of the word. Do you have this? When I go, see, this is brain upgrades. I recognized this a number of years ago, that when we're going through brain upgrades, it's like our vocabulary is harder to access. So the notion of reading one another's mind or sending one another messages through the mind, that has a particular name, which I cannot think of at the moment, but maybe someone can put it in the chat because somebody will remember it. So we are doing this physical integration and with this multidimensional lives from 3 to 12D, ancient codes, DNA skills integrating into the physical. So this integrated, upgraded, higher dimensional self, becoming more light-filled and emanating this crystalline light filled from the heart. That's what we'll come into. And the key words that came through in this last few days, we're moving into love and peace and ease and harmony, unity and connection. So let us dream up our new bodies. And so begin to do that. Begin to visualize how your new body looks and how it feels and how it moves and the qualities that it has, the abilities that you have, because you can do a rewrite, I want to say, and can do that in terms of youthing as well. Telepathy. Thank you, Larissa. Why couldn't I think of that? Thank you. Yes, telepathy. So the third eye and telepathy, so they come very strongly with this brain upgrade. But you may have been feeling it as, let me go back to that. It came in like a pressure. So it came in as though the brain was being squeezed, as though there was this, it was interesting because it was like a pressure that created compression and expansion at the same time. So it was quite a strange feeling, but that was that other brain upgrade. So we are coming in to being limitless and infinite and living from the heart. And that is what we're coming into as a society, if you want to call it that, as a civilization, as humanity. So these sun activities and solar flares are gradually and have been gradually and incrementally increasing. Gradually, I wrote gradually is a bit of humour, doesn't feel very gradual, but it's been incremental. Activating us, tempering the body, as Gaia has said, this ascension fitness, upgrading our bodies, our brains, our nervous system and DNA. So that's been the focus just over the last few days, really. We had kind of a set, I felt we had a set of energies that completed from the Lion's Gate that completed around the 19th, and we came into new energies, and that's what this was on the 21st, 22nd. So the other thing, maybe I've mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it again, is that God spoke to me about how ascension is going to take precedence over disclosure. So this idea that the disclosure will be too much or so much for humanity, those who have been asleep, that this idea of being shown all of that truth would be so overwhelming, they'd go into cognitive dissonance, they would lower their frequency, and then we'd be taking longer for ascension. And so that's what I was told, that the awakening, the ascension, the energies for that, the frequencies for that take precedence over disclosure and over the truth. So it's that will come down the track a little bit. So if you are hanging out for that, then I'd suggest just give it away. No, it will happen in divine timing. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation that I had with God about that, saying that, if humanity, who is or was, when I was having this discussion a few days ago, asleep, got shown all of the truth of what has been going on in our world, they would really fall apart, and they would really struggle to maintain their well-being, their balance. And so that was meant to happen first. So that's what God told me, that there had been a decision made that it would be flipped, that ascension would come first, and then those who they are awakening now, but that they would be shown about it after we've ascended. So there's this definite sense for me about these things, so that we've got these three kind of big waves coming through, and that we are going to have ascended by the end of November. Now, you can quote me on that if you like. I'm not holding anybody to it, let alone myself, but so I'm tuning in. I'm at the end of November. It's 2022. I'm seeing these beings. I'm having a conversation with them, and I'm asking about what they are, who they are, and where they're from, and what they're here for. And so, I'm told that they're here to help us build and reconstruct and do what needs to happen for our new Earth. And it's the end of November 2022, and that we have already done our planetary ascension. So there you go. I'll see what we do with that, but it's pretty jolly close. And so there's this sense that we're going to have these bigger waves of ascension energies that come through for all of us. And see, Gaia said something to me a while ago about divine counterparts. You might remember that she said that she was wanting divine counterparts to come into union in October for the 1111 gateway. So I guess that fits in with that. So, sometimes these pieces drop into the puzzle and make sense. What else is here? Oh, yeah. So I wrote in here, what God has said is that ascension comes over the reveal, over the disclosure. Oh yes, I had this experience on the 22nd. So the 22nd to me, I work with the number 11. Personally, I work with the number 11. But always when I tune into people who are 22s, they're quite special. I see them as these very strong conduits between off-planet information and Earth, that they bring in, each of them, brand spanking new information to the Earth. But on the 22nd of August, which is a 9 universal day, so I'll just give you a bit of a feel for what I did on this day. So I was closing my eyes just to tune into the energy. So I do it different ways for some reason at different times, but I found myself sitting on the couch and I was doing this. I had my eyes closed and I was doing this. I was swaying from side to side, which was not something that had happened before. And I wrote here, it was a soft meandering energy today, shows up in snaking side to side energy, upper to lower, as though we are gently undulating side to side to find our way to new territory or new grounding. But it also comes with release. So on that day, I had a runny nose just in the left nostril. That was all that it was, and it was only in the left nostril. So I'm just sharing that in case you had that experience. I don't really know what it means, but it's, you know, that it was some kind of release, and we've definitely been going through more release. So it showed up also as snaking Kundalini energy. So that was like a secondary energy, and that was so we were doing that and clearing and balancing all, you know, like we would have just been doing one of those a while ago, but now it's all coming into play. And so Gaia explained, and it felt new. This whole thing felt new to me. And Gaia explains the snaking energy is bringing the new energy to Earth, and the Kundalini running upwards. There you go, is clearing and balancing. So that's the energies that we were in then, and that was yesterday. There I go. See, me and time, not particularly holding hands, time and me. I don't know about you. Margaret Bowley's saying her number is 22. Yeah, so Margaret, I really do believe that 22s are here to anchor in, to land in something individual and unique and specific to the world. So we are exploring this releasing energy through the top of our system to come. It showed up like a fountain, as though the energy would come up and be released like the whale spurt. And could also see this as the culmination of a new series of energies that began on the 1st of August, as though I was just making notes to self. So I saw the Lionsgate energies, the precursor of those, that I could feel those coming in on July the 26th, which I think was the beginning of the galactic year. And so then we went through this process up to the 19th, 20th, and then this culmination of that, and then coming into this new. So this is this like central vertical core alignment, and some days it's running up and some days it's running down. That's how the last few days have shown up. So many or more of you will be exploring this notion of quantum time. Be observational with it first, is what I wrote here. So Gaia has spoken about quantum time as being this kind of expanding and contracting, and that we sort of she showed it to me as focusing in on a dot, really, on a spot or a dot, and you focus in on that, and it expands to meet the need of time for you, or it contracts to meet the need of time for the completion of what it is that you want to do. So it's the squeezing and expanding, matching to the requirements. So we're just learning about quantum time again, and just take note of that happening in your experiences. So we have more mental energies and brain upgrades, abilities for higher cognition, more advanced I don't even know what that means. I've written more advanced materials. Sorry, I don't know what that means. We'll see if I come across it. Broader concepts and constructs will be able to be held. So our brains are just going to have this greater ability to hold like a bigger range of ideas, and to be able to balance and hold them in the same space. Broader concepts to be played with at the same time, less pressure to know through the mental mind, many ideas that can be in movement and flow, with more peacefulness and ease in the mind as well, bringing in these higher ways of being related to, letting go of the need to be right, letting go of the need to know, and also integrating this ability to hold opposing and different views, So this is moving into this ability to hold it all with ease and with patience, in flow and in pleasure of the exploration. So we're going to kind of be in peace with it. It's not going to be this internal battle or fighting with it. And this allows for greater expanse of thought, collaboration and group cooperation, which is where we're heading to, where we're working together for, group outcome, for collective integration of ideas, and that one person doesn't have to have the whole idea, but that many of us can hold a part of it. Oh, we've been having these huge crown openings and a greater flow in the central vertical core. So maybe you can feel that. Also, a lot of heat. That was yesterday. I wrote that. A lot of heat moving up through the central vertical core, like very warming, as we are feeling a speeding up and a clearing, balancing and integration of high frequency energies through our system. So there's a very simple summary of the energies that we've been in the last few days. We are being pulled into higher dimensional expression, and also leaving behind old ways of thinking and speaking and being. And they kind of show up as though they're just fading away, as though they are things that we are just allowing them to move into the distance. They just don't hold substance. They're not anchored in. It's very gentle. We're being pretty amazing. We're just, letting things float away, letting this shifting. You're not in battle with it internally. So it's it's this very gentle upgrading and integration, and it's exciting. So it feels to me that we are likely to have another sort of big step up in September, and then a big step up in October, and I don't know the exact date of that, but definitely, Gaia spoke about the 11/11 gateway being very significant, and then that end of November, they were definitely showing up here. So maybe you can begin to be thinking about who you are and what you will be in your new world. And what did I write here? Who am I, and who am I becoming? Who do I wish to be, and how do I wish to be in the world? So how do you wish to make a contribution to the world? And maybe you want to even have a holiday, because a lot of us have been working very hard during this time, holding space for others and for family and for humanity. And I think it's just that we're going through this series of upgrades, but it's more and more. It's more and more intense. It's more and more high frequency. And yet, look at how we're doing it. It's pretty incredible. People are doing it with much more ease than perhaps we were doing that even a few months ago. All right, so let me look here at the chat and see if there are any. Let me see at the top. So we have Melanie here from the UK, and Angela here from the Canary Islands, and Margaret here from Australia, and Carla from Raglan, and Larissa. Oh yeah, Larissa from Romania. So Larissa saying she feels like a supercharged neurologic system. She even called an ambulance because she had an airplane noise in her head, nausea, headache. She said, of course, I go to the doctor, but it feels somehow foreign, like she was intentionally unplugged, and it is weird because my health is good. I know it. I had a couple of clients who I spoke to about that. It was like that, and I think in the last update I did, I talked about the sensation that I had spoken to Gaia about, as though, asking the question, have we had our umbilicals severed? Because it was like that, as though we'd been disconnected. So yeah, we're in that movement, we're floating from one space to the other. And then of course everything is happening around us like that as well. So the elementals are upgrading, and they're more evident and easier to see. And the other thing that's been happening in terms of, when I view the collective in terms of my physical interaction with clients, for example, it's not just that people are showing up in their highest form. So some pretty incredible beings showing up as, these amazing shamans and these incredible priestesses and these goddesses and all the rest of it. But there's a bit more integration that's showing up in the last week as well, as though people are, how can I even describe it? But that people might be integrating their elemental or their powerful elemental self, a shamanic self, a higher goddess self, and all integrating in, because we're integrating in our forms back through up to 7th dimension, and then accessing information up to our 12th dimensional form. But this is another reason why we're tired and why we're a bit we're finding our way. And so we just have to be confident that we're finding our way one breath at a time, that it will show up, that we're amazing, incredible, articulate, intelligent beings who can be guided by our souls that are phenomenal. And at the same time, we are integrating aspects of self that are coming in to help us in this new ascended state and in our new planetary ascension. Hello from Alison. And then Melanie saying, yes, forgot sometimes how much she's changed and what she's accomplished. Then Larissa says, yes, telepathy, thank you. Angela saying she's been also forgetting people's names. I could never understand how disclosure would help raise the vibration at first. Yes, I think the idea was that when people saw the truth, that they could let a whole lot of that go, but then it's been very powerful, this inculcation of some of these ideas and the ways in which people have been entrapped into thinking and believing things. Angela Bray says, I love that timeline, I'm going with it. Yeah, me too. It's interesting to me how things show up, so I wasn't looking for ascension, I was looking to November, and I was asking, well, talk to me about, I don't know why, but I was asking, talk to me, show me about November. And then those beings showed up and I found out about them, and it unfolded like that. So Margaret's number's 22, as is Jen's. Oh, you're welcome, Angela. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jen White Cloud is from San Francisco, and Larissa has an 11 path number as well. Yeah, so, and hi from Fargo, USA. Love you too. Thank you, Gail. So it really is quite incredible. If you're on the Divine Counterpart pathway, I can tell you that I saw my divine counterpart anyway. He was out of his cave yesterday and kind of looking out to the horizon and smiling. And someone else I tuned into, I saw her divine masculine in a sports car driving along, and when I tuned into what that was symbolic of, it was that he was there under the auspices of freedom. So we are in the unfolding of all of this, and we can hold on to the idea that it is this increase. And both God and Gaia have been speaking about this increase for a while, and it's felt like we're in the end part for a while, but yeah, it is happening, and we can have a sense of that. So I wish you lots of love as we traverse this bit of time, and I'll tune in some more and come back and speak again soon. So Lots of love from my heart and from the heart of Gaia. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. I really, really love having this interaction with you all.